Hello everybody and welcome back to another online Chinese history class with me, Tony. Last class we talked about Ji Song's not very outstanding or important reign, and that we only know so much about him because of the Duke of Zhou's work. We also talked about the beacon fire ruse that King You put into action to make Bao Si smile, only smile. However, it backfired and caused the entire downfall of the capital city and death of the king. One smile came at an extreme price, don't you think? This was extremely similar to The Boy Who Cried Wolf. In fact, one of the Chinese translations of the book Boy Who Cried Wolf is actually the beacon fire ruse, which is pretty interesting. The Boy Who Cried Wolf might also actually be based off of the beacon fire ruse too. Pretty interesting story. So after this happened, the Zhou dynasty was not in good shape at all. The capital was literally in ruins, and without the king's command, all the royal princes were in chaos and did not know what to actually do. Some of them had thoughts of taking over the dynasty for themselves, but were put down by other royal princes with the same type of thoughts. It looks like the Zhou dynasty was going to end right here and there. However, it did not. I mean, why would it? The Zhou dynasty was one of the most famously known ancient dynasties of China, and I'm pretty sure a bunch of you, or some of you, have heard of it as well. It is one of the most famous and interesting dynasties of the entire history of China. And we haven't even had that much classes of it. With those clues and evidence all together, you can basically put together that the Zhou dynasty wasn't going to end this fast. And why? The reason is why. It's because King You's son actually survived. His name was King Ping, and he escaped to the east parts of China. From there, he established cities and basically created a new dynasty, but technically did not. However, an era did end this time, and another era did start. The first part of the Zhou dynasty did end, and it was called the Western Zhou because it was set near the west. And the Western Zhou was doomed to fail and fall when King You put the beacon fire ruse into action. So with Western Zhou out of the way, a new section of the Zhou dynasty sprang into action and was slowly mapped and constructed. What was it called? Don't worry, this isn't an actual question with multiple choice. It's not really a worthwhile question, and I've mentioned it before, so it's called the Eastern Zhou. That's right. I mean, I already mentioned that King Ping escaped to the east, so you can put together by that. And Western Zhou is obviously the opposite of Eastern Zhou, so it's pretty obvious. And from Eastern Zhou and forward is what actually makes the Zhou dynasty such an interesting dynasty. It's where the fun begins. This was around 771 BCE. King Ping, the first king of Eastern Zhou, required assistance immediately. He had just escaped from barbaric tribes which ended the city in which he lived in. So naturally he was looking for protection and help. The kingdom Jin, which was a part of the Zhou dynasty, was looking to be pretty strong and having some, nice troops, a lot of resources, well-trained army, had a lot of prosperity. All the citizens were enjoying themselves. All of the farms were thriving. So it was looking pretty nice. So of course he asked the leader of the Jin kingdom for help. Duke Zhuang of Zhen was the leader, and he did agree to assist them and protect protect him with his troops. However, he agreed to help in quotations. In truth, he wanted to take over himself and basically become the next king of the whole entire dynasty. Well, you mustn't be mad at him. It was what everyone wanted at that point in time. Everyone thought that it was better to have more power than to have less power. Why wouldn't it? He was one of the only ones who were provided with that opportunity. However, that's what makes him different. Duke Zhuang started out as an advisor to King Ping, trying to help him take action. As time moved on, Duke Zhuang suggested to King Ping to do this and that, and then moved on to requesting him to bring out certain orders. And after a bunch of time, he basically took over. Basically, acting secretly behind and secretly like a puppet master controlling the strings of it all, which in this case is King Ping. And here, this picture is a portrait of Duke Zhuang. So, yeah. So, and Duke Zhuang made every decision on his own and never even consulted or talked to King Ping. He was literally a normal citizen at that point. How do you think King Ping reacted to this terrifying situation? A. King Ping felt very angry and took over and claimed back the throne that belonged to him with the help of several royal princes. Or B. King Ping was too powerless to do anything. Or C. King Ping felt angry and tried to get royal princes on his side, but little did they know they were allied with Duke Zhuang from the very beginning. So, they assassinated the king. Or D. King Ping was too powerless to do anything. However, it was only at that moment in time he secretly gained allies, and when the time was right, struck against the Duke and took back the throne. I'll reveal the correct answer in 10 seconds. I'll let you think a bit about this one. Okay, 10 seconds is up, and the correct answer was B. King Ping couldn't do anything about it. He was weak and did not have many troops and soldiers who were completely 100% loyal to him. No royal prince would actually believe that the throne was secretly in Duke Zhuang's hands, and Duke Zhuang was always sending guards and people to monitor King Ping's movement and every action that he took. If he did anything suspicious, it would be immediately reported. So, he would get into a lot of trouble. That's just an understatement. He didn't have much public authority. I mean, he did have a lot of public authority, but it's just that he didn't have much authority in the deeper parts of things at this point. If he tried to force Duke Zhuang off of the throne, he would just be taken over by force and made a normal citizen. That's the best situation, honestly. Maybe even a slave, or exiled him out of the dynasty, or possibly murdering him in cold blood for more guaranteed power. So King Ping sat on his fake throne for the rest of his life and died an anxious and boring death. Duke Zhuang made King Ping's grandson, the King Huan, the next king, to make sure that nobody saw through his plans and that he was secretly pulling the strings from behind. However, the grandson of King Ping and the next king had some other ideas. King Huan was planning something. And that's going to be it for today. See you guys next time. Bye bye.